All right, so we have a deal. We really do. It's probably going to be voted on tomorrow, but we have a deal, right? Um, Jeez, though, is it a slap in the face? It's stimulus, and it's needed, and not to complain about money being printed out of debt to sustain an economy that's flailing, but they could have done a little better. Now, they kept the $300 unemployment boost for 10 weeks, $600 checks, $600 per dependent, unless they're an adult, and then no check for that adult dependent. Second round of PPP and a second round of EIDL, but both with some regulations, and I have to look into those and see what the stipulations of the regulations are on those small business loan programs. Tell you what, man, they really are testing this country. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose or what, but a couple of months ago, 8, 9 months ago, I remember that CARES Act being passed, and I remember reading it and saying this is the biggest wealth transfer in the history of the world. It's true. I think it's the stat is 30% of all money ever printed was printed in 2020. Think about that. How much did you get of that? Well, maybe 1,200. Maybe if you're a bigger family, you got maybe $5,000. But these corporations got hundreds of millions of dollars in tax breaks, billions of dollars in stimulus sent their way. Everybody signed off on it. They had a party celebrating the signing of the bill. And now, with 7, 8 days left to go, Americans are struggling, and they just inked by a stimulus package. You understand? These guys, because they're all men, these top billionaires, they've gained $1.9 trillion in 2020. That's our amazing wealth. That's just beyond comprehension. Those numbers, we don't compute them because they're that big. And it's one thing if this is something new, but it's not. This has been happening for decades. It's like the setup, probably since 2000, to really make this happen. And it's happened before. Like, this country's gone through this before. We read this in our textbooks. They busted up the monopolies, the railroads, the banks, right? This happened already. Our politicians have been corrupted and lambasted because of this corruption, and we're there. We're in the pits of it. This is the Gilded Age, right? Back in the turn of the century. This is when all the business magnates were having monopolies, and Congress had to step in because of public pressure and change things. Take a look at this chart. This is crazy, a crazy amount of wealth disparity. You saw in the 20s, when we last had an episode like this before the Great Depression, things evened out. FDR came in. There were some government programs. Things steadied out until the mid 70s. Actually, steadied out until the 80s, and that's when, boom, the 1% really started accumulating wealth. There's these 1%ers have almost 200 times the wealth that somebody in the bottom 99% would have. I misspoke. It's not even that. They bring in 200 times the revenue. So it's not even wealth. It's just money coming in. You see here on this chart, this is just these. It's stagnating. And that's what wealth has done for the average American since the 70s, stagnated, while the top 1%, they're booming. You can see on this chart, right when the dot-com bubble happened and burst, there was a very quick acceleration of wealth by that 1%. This chart only goes to 2016 pre-Trump tax cuts, and with those tax cuts and the last stimulus bill, that red line on this chart has just gone parabolic up. This is not a good sign for the United States. And it's not like the average worker is just lazy. That's a narrative that needs to be destroyed. The average worker is almost 100 times more productive, or twice as productive as they were back in the day and in the 70s. But the wages, the income is not there. So we're working harder for less money. And people are getting frustrated. It's in the numbers. It makes me think of that Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin, talking about he wanted to talk about numbers, and we only speak about numbers when it's not important. And he gave us some bony line and Sony baloney stuff, and boy, pitchforks are coming out for these people. That's all I gotta say. During this pandemic, you can see here people with the highest income, second highest income, they weathered the storm. It's that 99% that those frontline workers, the people at the grocery store, the people at the coffee shop, the people at the restaurants, the people that serve you every day, that clean the rooms, the frontline workers of the United States, the lowest paid workers of the United States, the people who we've forgotten about in this latest stimulus package and given them a $600 stimulus check for Christmas. And Lord knows how many people, I think it's 45% of all Americans are in serious need. We've never seen numbers like that. At least nobody alive has seen numbers like that. 45% of Americans are in need. Compared to the rest of the world, we suck, right? You got Brazil and Mexico that aren't doing so well, but us, because we can't get our act together and we politicize everything and we make everything about ourselves and rugged individualism, forgetting that we have to survive. There's a rub there. The rest of the world has figured it out. We are still trying, and I don't know how it's gonna end. Actually, see, when it happened before, during the Gilded Age, the farmers movement and the greenback movement got together to form a populist movement. And although they did not get the presidency, they changed the face of politics back then. So there's a lot of movements happening right now that are similar. And I do think that for the 2022 and 2024 elections, there's going to be a new breed of politicians that's kind of blend what we think of conservative or progressive values. It's going to be a mix, an interesting mix. And it's going to be a marriage based out of necessity for workers. Hopefully a union start getting together again. But nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen unless you call. Unless you call your senator, call your representative, get a hold of the mayor. Tell everybody. Pressure from down up. That is the only way this is going to change without a more serious tone. We got to do something. We really do. It's not going to get better. With this new administration, they're going to sit on their hands until we make them get up and do something. Now, there's been a bunch of promises about extra stimulus or more help coming. People don't want money. They want jobs. They want to work. They want to understand that when they go to work, they're going to be safe. When they come home, they're going to be safe for their families, and they want to get on with their lives. Right now, there's no plan forward for that. There's just bickering and mudslinging, and it's not going to end well. So, with that said, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep on dropping this type of information. The relief is coming, so I'll make a video talking about dates. I wouldn't expect anything until the first week of January, even if they get the vote done tomorrow. It's up to us. We are the change that we've been waiting for, and that means that you cannot be complacent anymore. You can't be compliant anymore. Yeah, you have to call your representative. You have to get involved. You have to send the email. You have to change the tone of your rhetoric. Be the change that you want to see and watch it happen. I'm a big believer in the law of attraction. It's going to take a lot of that to get us to where we need to be just to survive these next 5 to 7 years. The rest of the world has a head start on us. So, again, like my channel. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.